Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. This week we are going over chapters 13 through 16 in Bud Not Buddy. I found some questions that I kind of took from that sheet, but put a little twist on it. What is important about the setting? And I should change that because I meant the setting in Calloway's house. I think that the little girl's room is going to show us something coming up. I can't read ahead because I'll forget what we're supposed to be going over. But
that's how
tonight I will be reading the rest of it. Yeah. My next question would be, if you were in Calloway's, if you were in Calloway's position, what would you do, or how would you react? What was the turning point in these chapters? Am I supposed to answer these? Because I'll say, well, because it might go into what you do. I'll just kind of answer. I just kind of jotted down some stuff. If I were in Calloway's position, I probably would, if I were a rich old man and some kid came over and told me he was my son, I'd be like, yeah, right, show me the blood work. Because I would just think he'd want my money. The turning point in these chapters, I thought, was when Miss Thomas came into the picture. I think she was a real maternal person that showed him love and affection and is going to get that old guy to turn around, hopefully. And then how is this plot true to life? And I don't know. That was kind of a hard one for me, but I think that children these days, I think there's a lot of situations where they may not know their parents, or they live with grandparents and they don't live with their parents. And so I think maybe that part of it might be true to life. So my summarizer can go ahead and summarize for us. Who's the summarizer?
Okay, well, that's me. That's me. I'm the summarizer. Kate is. It started out, he got to Calloway's. He pointed out Calloway as his dad with all the rest of the band members there. They kind of took him under their wing and took Bud out to eat. They just acted like he was just one of the guys, one of them. They also took him out to eat. They took him to Calloway's house because he had nowhere to sleep. That's when I can't think of the lady's name. What was her name? Miss somebody.
Miss Thomas.
He was introduced to her while they were eating. And she also kind of took him under her wing, protecting him more or less. He also felt great. I think he was just overwhelmed with the situation, and he hadn't cried, or he wasn't a crier, but he just started sobbing uncontrollably. And she took him and just held him really tight. And I think all the other band members more or less just felt his sorrow or his loneliness, and they also took him under their wings, and they took him to Calloway's house. That's where he slept in I think he assumed it was a dead girl. I don't know if it actually was said that someone was dead or if Calloway's daughter had died. But Calloway had such a brass hand and a brass mouth with him. He was not pleasant to Bud at all. But the other members just took him under their wing. And then one of the members offered him a new satchel, or I guess it was a horn case, to use instead of his old raggedy bag or whatever, luggage, suitcase, because he was going to be traveling with the band from now on. And he had never been treated like that before, and he felt like that this was home. Bud felt like this is where he belonged. Mm-hmm. I think that pretty well summarizes it. I think.
Yes, I would agree.
Anybody there want to add to that?
Yes.
I just wondered too, did they take him because of they had all been in a situation like that before? Is that why they took him under their wing? Or it's because they were all colored, they were all Negroes, or whatever the terminology was for back then, Is that why they took him under their wing? Because they felt sorry for him? Because they could relate to him? Something.
I would say they saw him and he didn't have any family, and they all kind of seemed to be each other's family. So they're like, come on, let's go.
I think so too. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, they just all kind of did.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I think it's all about the, like, I feel like if you've ever been in like music or theater groups at all, you really do, like when you perform together and stuff like that, you just turn into a family and you're kind of willing to take the strays in.
And you just spend so much time with them that they just become your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't they they're traveling all the time, so they really don't have family. They just have their performing family, I guess is how you'd say it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep. Okay.
So Hannah, you read the book. Did his daughter die? Did he have a daughter? Should I read the book, or will you tell me?
What do you think
I'm not
happened?
gonna tell anything.
I haven't read it, but I think Bud's mom is Calloway's daughter.
Do you think so, really?
So he's
I
his
do.
grandson.
I do.
Hannah's like covering her face so she doesn't give away any details.
Good job,
Oh,
Hannah.
exactly what I'm doing.
Yes,
I'm not gonna
because
give anything away.
they're like, "Is your mom old when she had you?" And he's like, "Yeah, she was 20, and when
Yeah, right.
she died, she was 26." I'm like, "That's not old."
I
Yeah.
know.
That's so bad.
He's probably like trying to so
Wow.
angry because it's just like tearing him down because it's just reminding him, like, if that is his daughter, it's just like a reminder, like,
Yeah.
she passed away, you know?
Yeah.
Whoa. Did he? Okay, Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah, I got one question, Hannah. If Aaron thinks that Bud's mom is Calloway's daughter, then did she run away or he kicked her to the curb, and the only daughter he really had was the one that died?
I think she got pregnant.
Yes, Hannah?
Quit asking Hannah.
Oh, and he kicked her out to the curb. Okay.
Because she was pregnant, I think.
Got it.
But who knows?
I'm going to neither confirm nor deny anything.
Hannah knows.
You should really read it. It's awesome.
All right.
I know. I can't wait.
One
Let's
more
hurry
week,
so we
guys.
can
We got
read
this.
it.
One more week. You'll know.
Okay, so let's see. Let's go with words next. Who's got
That's
words?
me. Okay, so the first word I chose was lamb, and when they used it in the book, it said had to go on the lam. So it's like trying to hide or escape from someone. And that was on page 151. And the next word I used was coot. And it said in the book, but isn't it just my luck?
What?
Coot. C-O-O-T. And how it was used in the book was, but isn't it just my luck to come clean across the state and find my daddy, and he turns out to be a mean old coot, which means a foolish person, usually
coot.
an older man. The next one I picked, I didn't think like kids that would read this book at this age would know what acquaintance is. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance as well, which means a person that you know slightly, on page 163. And then the next word I used was dukes. Put up our dukes and went at it. So like put up your fists, on page 164. And then the last one was Ticonderoga pencils, which I didn't realize that was the world's best pencil. I don't know if you guys all knew that, but I didn't know that, so I looked it up.
They're amazing.
What kind of pencil is it?
Well, it's just a normal wood pencil, but it sharpens perfect, and I
didn't know if it was like some special kind, so I looked it up.
They're like the ones that people never buy because they're so cheap or they're so expensive. And then I'm always like, no, I'm buying the good ones and I write my kids' names on them.
Oh, I do too. Or fingernail polish and
I
them.
buy these type of pencils. You can refill.
That's because y'all are young.
What kind of fantasy background? Anything?
Before we go to the connector, where do we find the grading papers that we do on each other? What section is
I
that
think
in?
it's in section 7, but I'll check for sure. She had
Okay.
messaged me. I'll let you know later because I'll have to read. But she told me I think it's in section 7.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so connector. Who connector?
That's me. Okay, so my 2, I'm actually gonna do 3. So my first connection is when he's in the club and he's talking to all the men and he's standing there with all these adults around him. I thought about like when I went to a family reunion when I was a little kid, and my dad introduced me to like all of his family members, and I'm just standing there awkward and embarrassed because all these adults are kind of standing around and they know me, but like, and I don't know, you just watch their expressions and that's what he's doing. He's like watching, like he knows what news is coming kind of because of the way he's reading their faces. And you see that a lot. Like he says, oh, they're getting ready to tell me this, or, you can tell by the look on their face. So he's watching them, and that's what I did. And so I remembered that, and I thought about that. I thought about the part at the end of this section where they give him a nickname and how awesome that is. Like it makes you feel like you're part of the club, when you have that nickname. And I think among kids, that's something that's pretty special and unique. And I think even a fun thing that you could add to this assignment, like if you were doing this in a classroom setting, is you could have each group, kind of how we had our groups, Bud Not Buddy, we could have you give everybody in your group a nickname. And you have to determine, I just think that would be a fun way of doing it. And then there was one other one, and I didn't write it down yet.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember what it was, Kenzie, that I said I was gonna?
It was the restaurant.
The restaurant.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thanks, Kate. So I thought the restaurant part was really cool because, like, okay, we all were at McDonald's and stuff like that. Well, most of us were at McDonald's when we were kids. Some people don't go there, or whatever. But when you actually went to your first sit down restaurant where you got to look at a menu and you got to order food for the first time that was different from everybody else's. Like I remember doing that with my grandma and thinking how special that was, because it is more of you don't get to go do that every day of the week. That's like a Sunday thing or whatever,
Right.
So, anyways.
I have one thing to connect. So you know how she ordered for him, obviously, because he's never ordered food before? Just makes me think about all the little kids that come into the queue and they're looking at me and then they look at their mom and they're like, I don't want to tell her what I want to eat. Just speak up and tell me. Like, I'm not going to hurt you.
I want to go to the queue.
I was there today. I had a White Russian. It was pretty good.
That's why these groups are so much fun.
Work was stressful. I had to have one drink.
Yes. Show off. Okay, and our last will be the illustrator.
Yes. Okay, so here I put Sweet Pea for the restaurant because he said that it was the best restaurant he's ever been to. And then down here I have when he started to cry and she just picked him up and held him in his arms. It kind of reminded of his mom. And then I did a bone so that it represents when they gave him the nickname Mr. Sleepy Slabone. And that made him feel a part of the group. And then I used this case as the new case that they gave him to replace his old suitcase that he looked like he was in the group. And then I did a recorder because that's the instrument they gave him so that he could be in the band.
That's good. Those are good ones.
Thank you.
Every time I see your guys' illustrations, I just laugh at mine because I just drew a little picture.
It was great.
That was all that was required, though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there was thought that went into it.
So cute. Oh, you guys are so cute. Okay, so is that it?
That's it.
So we're done.
All right.
We just
You
need
want
to
me
talk
to
about
go ahead
next
and
week.
stop? All right, I'm going to end the recording then.